Welcome to Daily English with Emma. Today, I want to talk about something quiet, powerful, and often misunderstood: mindset. Because when you change the way you think, you begin to change the direction of your life. Your life may not be stuck because of your situation, it may be stuck because of your mindset. Many people spend years trying to change their lives by working harder, waiting longer, or hoping that one day things will finally improve. They believe that if they just try a little more, everything will fall into place. But time passes, years pass, and nothing really changes. Not because they are lazy, not because they are not smart enough, but because the way they think has never changed. Change does not always begin with action. Very often, it begins with a thought you repeat, a belief you accept, a story you tell yourself about who you are and what is possible for you. Over time, those thoughts shape your choices, and your choices shape your life. There was a time when a man named Aaron believed that life was something that happened to him. When things went well, he called it luck. When things went wrong, he called it fate. He believed success belonged to other people who were more confident, people who were more talented, people who somehow knew things he didn't. Aaron worked hard, but deep inside, he believed his effort would never be enough. And that belief quietly guided everything he did. When opportunities appeared, Aaron hesitated. He told himself he wasn't ready. When challenges came, he felt overwhelmed. He saw them as proof that he wasn't capable. Even small mistakes felt heavy because he believed they said something about who he was. Without realizing it, Aaron built a life that matched his mindset. A limited mindset creates a limited life. One evening, after another long and ordinary day, Aaron sat alone in his apartment. Nothing terrible had happened, but nothing meaningful had happened either. He felt stuck, not physically, mentally. He opened a notebook and began to write. "I try so hard," he wrote. "So why does nothing change?" He stared at the sentence for a long time. Then he wrote another line. "What if the problem isn't my effort, but my thinking?" That single question didn't change his life overnight, but it planted a seed. From that moment, Aaron began to notice his thoughts. He noticed how often he said things like, "I'm not good at this. I always mess things up. This is just who I am." And slowly, he realized something important. These thoughts were not facts. They were habits, and habits can be changed. Mindset is not about pretending everything is easy. It's not about ignoring problems or forcing positivity. Mindset is about how you interpret difficulty. A fixed mindset says, "This is who I am and I can't change." A growth mindset says, "This is where I am and I can grow." One closes doors, the other opens them. Aaron didn't suddenly become confident, but he became curious. Instead of saying, "I can't do this," he tried saying, "I'm learning how." Instead of saying, "I always fail," he said, "I haven't succeeded yet." The words felt uncomfortable at first, almost strange. But slowly, they changed the way he responded to challenges. When Aaron made mistakes, he stopped calling himself a failure. He began to see mistakes as feedback. When things didn't work out, he stopped seeing them as rejection. He saw them as redirection. Life didn't become easier, but it became clearer. Confidence didn't arrive suddenly. It grew quietly. Aaron applied for opportunities he once avoided. He spoke up in situations where he once stayed silent. Sometimes things worked out. Sometimes they didn't. But failure no longer defined him. Your mindset determines how you experience your life. Two people can face the same situation. One sees proof they should give up. The other sees proof they should grow. The situation is the same. The outcome is different. When you believe improvement is possible, you act differently. You try longer, you recover faster, you stay open. When you believe change is impossible, effort feels pointless. Your beliefs decide how far you go before you stop. Over time, Aaron's life began to change. Not dramatically, but steadily. Not because luck appeared, but because he did. He stopped waiting to feel ready. He stopped waiting for permission. He began showing up as someone who believed growth was possible. Mindset doesn't change your past, but it completely changes how you move forward. Your past explains where you've been. It does not decide where you're going. Many people think mindset is about thinking positively all the time. It's not. Mindset is about responsibility. It's about understanding that while you can't control everything that happens, you can control how you respond. And that choice changes everything. A weak mindset says, I have no control. A strong mindset says, I may not control the situation, but I control my next step. That shift is powerful. Aaron still had doubts. He still had difficult days, but doubt no longer stopped him. It simply walked beside him. He learned that courage is not the absence of fear. It is action despite fear. Months later, Aaron looked back at his old notebook. I try so hard. Why does nothing change? And he smiled, because now things were changing, not perfectly, not quickly, but intentionally. Change did not come from doing more. It came from thinking differently. When Aaron changed his mindset, his decisions changed. When his decisions changed, his habits changed. And when his habits changed, his life followed. Your mindset is not something you are born with. It is something you build. Every thought you repeat strengthens a belief. Every belief influences a choice. Choose thoughts that move you forward. Life does not respond to who you wish you were. It responds to who you believe you are becoming. You don't need a new life to change your mindset. You need a new mindset to change your life. Closing reflection. When you change the way you think, you change the way you act. When you change the way you act, you change the direction of your life. Not overnight, not magically, but permanently. This is Emma. Thank you for listening to Daily English. Change your mindset, and your life will follow.